everyone, and welcome to Mind Garbage. My name is Eric Myers. If you didn't know, Mind Garbage is a show that airs every Monday at 9 o'clock, and I talk to you about whatever I want for roughly 10 minutes. Today, I want to talk about DLC, downloadable content, if you didn't know what the abbreviation meant. DLC is something that has been going on in games for a really long time. I want to talk about whether or not are we finally getting to a point in gaming where it's actually being done right. When I think of DLC, downloadable content, usually I think of negative sort of things. Let's focus a little bit on the positive, but in the past. Generally, before, these things were called expansion packs, and it was extra content that was supplemental to your game. So, say for instance, you bought, let's go back to 2003, you bought Call of Duty. Next year, an expansion comes out called, I believe, Finest Hour? No, that is an Xbox exclusive. United Offensive, that's the one I'm thinking of. And it was another expansion, or an expansion that was made, I believe, by Treyarch. Maybe, don't quote me on that, but I think by Treyarch. And it was just something as a stopgap in between Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2. And it certainly wasn't the first. There was many games that had tons of expansions, and it was a stopgap in between, and that was great. That was fine and dandy. It seems like once Elder Scrolls Oblivion came onto the scene, DLC started to kind of get a negative connotation to it, which is sad, especially considering that even before that, when you had games such as Splinter Cell Pandora Tomorrow, or I think even Ghost Recon 2, Rainbow Six, 3 of these games were patching in free maps to multiplayer. But I always think of Oblivion as being the one that kind of put DLC as a negative for people. For good reason. The fact that they were charging for horse armor is a little ridiculous. And because of the mobile market, being, mobile phones and mobile games and everything, having microtransactions and things to nickel and dime you, that started to bleed over into the console market. You look at free-to-play games such as, I think, a big one like Blacklight Retribution, is a game that you could pretty much buy superiority in, which sucks. That's not cool. I don't like that sort of thing, even though I enjoyed the game. Even Call of Duty now, you look at what they've done. I would say a big example is look at what's happened with Modern Warfare, the remaster. Great port, excellent port, actually. I platinumed it. The campaign is still just as fantastic as I remember. It looks beautiful. Multiplayer started out really great. I played a little bit of it. I was sidetracked doing a whole bunch of other stuff. And now, recently, they've updated it. They've added new maps, which is great that they added those maps for free, but then they also added a bunch of different cosmetic microtransactions, all of this sort of stuff, which doesn't necessarily negatively impact the game, but it doesn't positively impact it, which is a shame, considering that, to me, that game is so special and it should be preserved in the state that it is. And this is Activision being Activision because they can make money off of it. But lately, we're starting to see DLC, I feel like, being treated in a way that is good. I would like to mention a few examples that I think of games that are doing it and actually doing it right. I want to talk about Rainbow Six Siege, The Division, and Hitman. So first things first, Rainbow Six Siege is a game that is being treated as a platform, really. Rainbow Six Siege came out in December of 2015, and last year, when it was already on the market for months, and I want to say sometime around in the summer of 2016, it actually had a higher player base than when it started, which is completely unbelievable. That does not happen, usually, and especially for a multiplayer game. The reason being is that, a multiplayer game comes out, a community or a large amount of people jump onto it and they really enjoy it, but then they bounce. They got other things to do. The thing that, and again, I don't own it, but I have a friend who is incredibly into Rainbow Six Siege. I kind of know everything that they've been doing. The thing of where they get it right is operators are free along with the maps and everything, but cosmetics and that sort of stuff or no, operators, they are free, but you can get a season pass where you get them instantly, but you can also unlock them within the game. And I think that is important. Every operator has an advantage that another operator can completely undermine or go against, which is good. That is good game design. That is good balance. And then you're having these maps that are added that are free, and they're constantly supporting this game to the point that they're like, oh, we're still going to be doing stuff. I don't think we're going to see a sequel to Rainbow Six Siege for at least another 2 years, especially when this game has the community that it has. And I think that's excellent. To me, that's an example of a game doing DLC right. The Division is another one where, looking at that game, that was one that it came out, and I've been playing it. I'm roughly 12 hours into it, I want to say, maybe 13 at this point. And it's not a game that's great for me, especially, but there is something there that I think is cool in the fact that Ubisoft, again, has been supporting it. They've put out 2 expansion packs so far, Underground, I believe is what it's called, and then Survival. And then they have added, all these different modes and weapons and new weapons and things that just keep you coming back for more. And I think that is where DLC comes through, is to be like, hey, this is something that, because of the way that modern technology is, we can add stuff to our existing game and existing platform, and we don't have to nickel and dime you. Lastly, a game that I feel like has been doing DLC probably better than all of these is Hitman. Now, Hitman, that release is so strange, and especially because it's episodic. It's not something that we usually see in games. Traditionally, a game comes out and that's it. It's done. It's over with, and then they add all this stuff. This one was episodic. And what I think has been cool about it is that they have been learning from everything. They've been adding to what they already have. They've been adding contracts, elusive targets, and it's this sort of trickle thing of getting you to come back every couple weeks or every month, which I think is awesome. The reason why that is so cool is because of the fact that it keeps the game into the conversation that everyone has. Keep in mind, this game came out almost a year ago. I believe episode 1 launched in March, April maybe, at the latest. And this game feels like it's just came out a couple weeks ago. Like, that is the consistency at which this game is being conversed about. And it's so interesting that, they've used DLC in a way that makes sense, especially for the product, where say you go and you buy the complete first season or whatever, and you spend the $60, you have the full game. The amount of content that they continuously keep trickling out and giving you new ways to play the same map, or giving you free updates to an existing map. I believe in the summer they did a Sapienza mission that had 2 different targets. They had a Sapienza mission that had 1 target, and then one in Marrakesh. And it was really cool. It gave you a different time of day to play it. They were both at night, and they had just a different vibe to them. And that, to me, is a great way to do DLC. And do we still see the negative impact of DLC? Yes, we still see it. Like I just mentioned with Call of Duty, that is still permeating into the gaming industry, which kind of sucks. You still see it with other games such as Payday. Payday 2 is one of those games that I loved when it originally came out. I don't think the PS4 port is really good at all. I can see clearly that the game is fantastic for PC, but that is another thing of, there's so much downloadable content, and you have so many different weapons where it's kind of like, I don't understand why you don't just want to put these guns in there, and instead of just giving like a different, like a map pack with a bunch of guns at least. No, it's just, here's various guns, $4.99, which to me is a little bit pricey for $5 for a few guns. That to me is, I don't necessarily approve of that. What I am starting to see that is nice about DLC with the games that I mentioned that I think are positive experiences is that you're getting the bulk of the experience, the good stuff, for free. Because you look at Rainbow Six, like I said, free operators, free maps, all that. They can be unlocked with they can be unlocked with in-game currency. That's good because you have a way to play the game and unlock what you want. And if you want, you can just buy it. That option's totally there for you. Hitman, you're having a trickle of content. And to me, DLC is an awesome thing. At least it should be. It is more content to a game that you love, that you can get in bite-sized pieces and continuously be able to come back and enjoy. And I think finally we are starting to see a trend of DLC becoming great and being something that we welcome into the industry and not just an after effect from the mobile market. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you very much. If you would like, you can follow me on Twitter at EricMyers93, link down below. You can like the video, share the video with your friends, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.